What is ETIAS, ETA, and EES? These are three new systems that the UK and Europe are rolling out for their tourists. Think of it as TSA pre-check to go across the pond. I'm going to tell you how you fill these out, when you fill them out, how much they cost, so you can travel like the savvy traveler I know you are.
Hello there, world travelers. Welcome back to Women Over 50 Travel. What is this ETIAS thing? ETOS. What is EES? Do I need an ETA? Am I going to need all three of these to visit Europe? Well, take a deep breath. Yes, is the answer. Europe and the UK are rolling out three new systems, but I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. Think of it like getting TSA pre check, but you're crossing the pond. Today, I'm going to break down all three systems, what they are, when they start, how much they cost, and most importantly, how to handle them like the savvy travelers we are. So grab a coffee and let's dive in. Let's start with what's already here, the UK ETA. So that's the United Kingdom Electronic Travel Authorization. This one's already live. It went live April 2nd of this year, 2025. So if you're planning a trip to London, Edinburgh, or anywhere in the UK, you need this now. Well, what is it? Think about it as UK's version of asking, hey, who's coming to visit before you arrive? It's a digital permission slip that says you are cleared to enter. So here's the details. It costs £10, which is about 13 US dollars. It's going to be valid for 2 years. It covers unlimited trips to England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. It's required for stays up to 6 months for tourism, business, family visits, or even short term study. So even if you're transitioning through London Heathrow Airport on your way to Paris or someplace else, you will need this. Here's how to apply. It's super easy. You can apply online at the official UK government website, and I'm going to have that listed in the description below because you know as soon as something like this goes into effect, a million scam websites will come out there that are just trying to get your information. So you want to use the official website. Or you can also download the UK ETA app on your phone. The application is going to take you about 10 minutes, and most people get approved within hours to just a few days. So here's a pro tip. Apply at least 1 week before your flight just to be safe. Sometimes there's some confusion or they have more questions, and you may need that time. So, at least 1 week before you plan to take your trip. Next up, the EES. And this one is a game changer. Okay, so the Entry Exit System, or EES, launched in October 12th, 2025, and it's being rolled out progressively over 6 months. This is the big biometric system everyone's been talking about. What is it? The EES records the entry and exit of all non EU travelers on short stays each time they cross the border to an external border of the Schengen zone. So think of it as Europe's getting really serious about knowing who's in the house and for how long you were there. So you will no longer get a stamp, it will be electronic. Here's what happens on your first visit to the Schengen area of the Europe. After the EES is launched, you'll need to create a digital record at the port or airport on arrival. You'll be required to submit your fingerprints and have your photo taken at a dedicated booth. Now, I know what you're thinking, more lines at the airport. And yes, initially there may be some delays, but here's the good news. Once you're in the system, future entries should actually be faster because they have your info on file. So, the important EES facts. No application needed beforehand. It all happens at the border. Your biometric data is stored for 3 years and it tracks your 90-day stays in that 100-day and it automatically rules out passport stamps. So this applies to all 29 Schengen countries. And those are probably all of your favorites, which are France, Italy, Spain, Greece, Germany, Portugal, Austria, Netherlands, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, and the list goes on. Basically, most of Europe. My take is yes, the first time through may take a little longer, so budget an extra 30 to 45 minutes the next time you come into Europe. But honestly, once you're registered, the system makes things easier. No more worrying if you've overstayed. They'll know exactly how many days you have left. And finally, the ETIAS. This one they've had a lot of different dates for, but currently it's set to come live in late 2026. Okay, so you've probably heard of this one a lot. This is the European Travel Information and Authorization System. What it is it's an electronic travel authorization, also known as a visa waiver for Europe. It's basically Europe's version of the ESTA that people use to visit the US. The details, it costs just €7, which is about $7 to $8 American money. It's valid for 3 years or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. It allows multiple entries during that time that it's valid, and each stay can be up to 90 days within a 180-day period. And it covers all 30 Schengen countries. Now, I just want to give you a little heads up. When you're thinking about traveling to Ireland, that's not part of the UK, that is actually part of Europe, so they would be part of this process. So, how do you apply? The application is all done online. So, you fill out the form, you give your passport information, your contact information, your travel plans, and some background and security questions. It should take you about 10 to 15 minutes, and most applications are approved instantly or within a few days. So the EES and the ETIAS are different. Yes, this confuses everyone, but let me break it down. The EES is a biometric registration that happens at the border. So that's the fingerprints and the photograph. The ETIAS, is a pre-travel authorization you apply for before you leave home. You're going to need both of these. Think of ETOS as getting permission to come and the EES as checking in when you arrive. An important timing note, there's going to be a 6-month transition period followed by a 6-month grace period when ETOS finally launches. During this transition period, Americans will be allowed to cross the external borders without the ETOS as long as they meet all the other entry conditions. So if you love to travel and you want travel news you can use, please subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate it. And go ahead and like this video. So now we're going to pull it all together. What do you actually need? I'm going to go through a couple of scenarios so you can kind of see what you would need if you're going on one of these trips. So the first scenario, you're just going to go to London. You would apply for the UK ETA, and that's all, just that ETA. Scenario number 2, you're going to go on a much bigger trip. You're going to Paris, Rome, and Barcelona. You're good right now with just your passport, but after October 12th, 2025, you're going to go through that EES registration, which is those biometrics. And then starting late 2026, you're going to have to apply for that ETOS before you leave home. Scenario number 3. So this is going to be if you're going to London and Paris. You would apply for the UK ETA to get you into London. You're going to register with EES when you arrive in Paris. And starting late 2026, you would also apply for the ETIAS. Thankfully, you only have to do this once every 3 to 4 years. So here's my golden rules. As always, apply early. Don't wait until the last minute with that ETA or the ETOS. Give yourself at least 2 or 3 weeks before travel so if there's any questions or confusion, you have time to answer that. Also, check your passport. Make sure your passport is valid for 6 months beyond the dates you plan to be coming back home. That catches a lot of people, not the date you're leaving, but the date you're coming home. That's really important. They will not let you on the plane if you don't have 6 months of validity. Keep a digital and paper copies. I know this is old school, but I always say save that email, print it out, get your confirmation numbers printed out, and keep them with you. I also keep a copy on my phone, so if everything works out well, I can get into my phone. It's not dead. I can show them that on my phone, but I also always have that hard copy just in case something happens. Also, budget a little extra time when you're arriving. The first few months, airports are going to be a little slower, so you might want to get there a little earlier so you can do that biometric EES piece. And get this, everyone needs their own. Even kids and infants will need to have their own EES, ETA, and ETOS. So these are not visas. You still can't work or study long term on these authorizations. They're just for tourism, business trips, and short visits only. The bottom line, are these new systems a little annoying? Yes. Do they add a few extra steps to our travel planning? Absolutely. But are they going to stop us from exploring Europe and UK? Not a chance. Think of it this way. We're the generation that learned to use smartphones, book travel online, and navigate apps in foreign languages. We can handle a couple of online forms and a fingerprint scan. The key is just knowing about these requirements ahead of time and building them into your travel planning routine. And hey, at least they're relatively cheap and they last for multiple years. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you already used the UK ETA? Are you planning a trip for 2026? Drop your questions and experiences below. I would love to hear them. And once again, if you found this helpful, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to Women Over 50 Travel for more tips, tricks, and travel wisdom. Ciao for now.